I'm Tara Wasilowski. I want to introduce my audience. I have 3 people with me, the persons who are recording, and then 2 audience members. Today I'm going to do a call to action to get people to start saving for their retirement. Do you plan to be poor, destitute, and reliant on the government when you go to retire? Well, if you do, then continue to do nothing. If you don't, you need to start paying yourself right now, because you can't rely on Social Security and pension plans when it comes time for you to retire. And you will have financial needs. The Social Security Trust Fund is going to be bankrupt by the year 2041. And the Employee Benefit Research Institute says that 32% of retirees right now have $10,000 or less in savings, which means that they're barely making ends meet. Okay. Today, if you retire at 65, a female has a likelihood to live to be about 85 years old. A male has a likelihood to live to be about 80 years old. Now, barely making it for 20 or 30 years in retirement is not something that you want to do. It's not something I want to do. And the fact is that there's something that you can do about it right now, right today. Back in the good old days, people could rely on pension plans. They worked for a company for 30 or 40 years. They were paid for their service when it came time for their retirement. And nowadays, people work for 5 or 6 or 7 employees during their life, and not only are they not vested into a pension plan, but companies can no longer afford pension plans. And the fact is, 18,000 companies in the United States right now have no pension plan established for their employees, and in all honesty, don't have the funds for the pension plans that have been established. Employers are now looking to retirement savings plans like 401ks, and they are encouraging their employees to contribute to these savings plans. And the fact is that 50% of all eligible employees in the United States are not contributing to these retirement savings plans, and they may be putting money aside on their own, but are they doing enough? Are you doing enough to fund your retirement? 37% of employees retire earlier than they intended to, because they get sick, because they're laid off, and retiring earlier than you plan to becomes a huge concern if you haven't put the monies aside that you need to put aside for when it comes time to retire. The thing is, you still have something to do about this. You can still alleviate this problem that you'll face at retirement if you don't plan properly. You know, most people spend out of their paycheck money first. They save what's left over. I need you to pay yourself first. You need to put money aside, and then the money that's left, you can feel guilt-free to spend it as you like, but you need to pay yourself first. Because one day you're going to be a 7-year-old person, and if you look back on your life and have regrets about what you should have done when you had the chance and you were working and you could have, I don't want to have to see you in that situation, okay? The fact is that all people plan, they intend to save for retirement. But every day that you don't put money aside for yourself is another day that you're not doing what you need to do for your future self. I want you to see a financial planner. You need to do a financial needs analysis. You need to know how much money that you're going to need when you retire, so that you're in a comfortable financial situation when it matters the most. When you don't have the opportunity to go and work a job the next day because at one point you were young and you could do that. The fact is, the lifestyle of a person who pays himself first versus paying themselves last while they're in their working years isn't much different than a person who doesn't do that. Now, the difference comes when it comes time to retire, and the person who's put money aside for themselves first has something there. 90% chance of having enough money at retirement age would mean that you really need to have about $635,000 for living expenses and about $1 million in health insurance coverage. Money set aside for your health insurance or for your health expenses. If you retire at age 65 and you're going to live 30 years, that's probably a very conservative number that you're going to need to have at that point. And now, of course, we're not even discussing the fact of inflation and what money 40 years from now will actually be worth in today's dollars. But the fact is, if you're nowhere near $635,000 or $1 million, cumulatively almost $2 million set aside for your retirement, we've got to start doing something now. Putting a little bit of money away each month can grow to quite a substantial amount because of the theory of compound interest, doing something regularly, and there's definitely something that you can do. So I want you to visualize the lifestyle that you plan to live at retirement age. Do you want to live the good life, or do you want to live a different kind of life? And living the good life means you get to go visit your family, you get to travel, you get to do all the things that you imagined you would do while you were working for 40 years come retirement time. Now, of course, living something other than a good life at retirement age would mean you're working, and you don't have a choice about working. You're working because you have to. We've all seen a 70-year-old, a 75-year-old person working a job, working an hourly wage job, that they have to work because they have no other options. I want you to visualize where you want to be at that point in your life. Not to scare you, because the fact is there's still time. For those of us that are under 40 years old, we've still got time to fix this problem. And we're going to see financial advisors, we're going to get our financial plan in order, and the most important thing I want you to realize is that only you can help yourself, and only you can be that 70-year-old person who's looking back on your life and not regretting the things that you should have done. And that's it. Oh, my note cards. And that's it.